All right. Hey, guys, welcome back. All right, so we've spent a couple days on simple interest after, a couple days ago we had an introduction to interest, and that we saw that there were two types of interest, simple and compound. And the other day, the only thing we talked about was the fact that compound tends to grow a little bit more quickly, or a lot more quickly, depending on your rate and your amount of time. So anyways, let's get to this. So the compound interest formula is slightly different than the simple interest formula. Compound interest is A equals P, and then in the parentheses, we're going to multiply by the sum of 1 plus R, and we're going to raise it to the T power. And we'll talk about what all those variables mean in a second. You'll see that three of the variables are exactly the same. We've got the P for principal, R for rate, and T for time. There is no I for interest in this formula, but we do have an A, which we'll talk about that in a second too. Let's just go ahead and fill these three out just as a reminder. So the variable P, again, stands for principal, and that's the amount of money that you start with, whether it's money that you're borrowing from a bank or money that you're putting into a bank to hopefully earn some extra money. R is still the rate, and even though that's given to us in a percentage, usually we want to convert it to a decimal. Remember, we just do that by dividing the percent number by 100. T is the amount of time, and we want to be measuring that in years. The A now stands for the easiest way to remember it is account balance. So it's like your total. So let's just call it that. Let's call it the total. Whoops, not tattle, total. Or we can call it the account balance. So that's like your final balance after all is said and done. You start with X amount of money, and then however many years later, you've got a different amount of money. That's the A. All right. Let's go ahead and solve one. Oh, by the way, just like with simple interest, you'll be given the word compound if they want you to compound your interest, if they want you to make sure you use this formula instead of the simple interest formula. So let's do question number 1. All right, Brenda invests $4,848. She couldn't get that extra $112, $152 to make $5,000. So she wanted $4,848. So Brenda invests $4,848 in a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 5% compounded annually. There's that word compound, tells us to use this formula. What will the account balance be after 6 years? So let's go ahead and label these things. We know that the $4,848, that's her investment. Now remember, if she borrowed that, we'd use the exact same formula the same way. So that's our principal. The interest rate is going to be our 5%, so that's R. Just remember, we want to turn that into a regular old decimal number, so let's take that 5 and divide by 100 to get 0.05. And then we have 6 years, so that's our amount of time. It's in years, so we don't have to do anything funny with it. So our T is 6. Just write down our formula. A equals P times the sum of 1 plus R to the T power. Sorry, I messed up where I wrote that a little bit. And now we just substitute our values into our variables. All right, so our principal, our P here was 4,848. We're going to multiply that by 1 plus R, which is now 0.05. And then our exponent of T is 6. Remember that we're going to raise this to an exponent. Make sure you're not just multiplying by 6. There is a helpful video on your Canvas calendar. I think it's on March 18th and 19th and 20th, somewhere around there, that shows you how to access one online if you don't have the one that we have at home. Just make sure this is an exponent, not just a multiply. Speaking of calculator, let's get our trusty calculator and just type that in there. Let's clear out our screen. All right, so we've got 4,848. And we're going to put in parentheses, so we're multiplying by 1 plus 0.05, close our parentheses, and again, make sure that 6 is an exponent. So whichever calculator you have, make sure you're using an exponent of 6, not multiplying by 6. We hit enter, and now we have a new account balance of $6,496.78. So that's our account balance. Notice how nowhere in here does it say anything about our interest. Now, there is a way to go back and figure out how much interest got earned. If we started at $4,800 something, now we've got about $6,500. You guys can probably figure out how to do that. There'll be another video that shows us exactly what to do. For right now, we're just practicing using the formula. So let's go on to number 2. So number 2 says, Leah invests $8,333 in a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 8% compounded annually. There's that word we looked for. So we know that we're going to use the funky interest formula and not just PRT. What will the account balance be after 12 years? Let's go ahead and label these with variables so we know where to put them in our formula. So the original investment amount, or the original amount that you borrow, that's going to be our principal. Interest rate. I mean, look, they're so nice they even tell you that it's a rate. So that's our R. The other clue is that it's got a percent number. All right, but remember, we don't want to put percents into our calculator, so let's divide it by 100 to get 0.08. And 12 years, that will obviously be our time, already measured in years for us. So we'll go ahead and write down our formula. A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power. Let's just go ahead and start substituting values in there. Instead of P, or principal, we're going to write our initial amount of $8,333. And then inside of our parentheses, instead of 1 plus R, we're going to write 1 plus 0.08. Close our parentheses, and let's make sure we put this 12 as an exponent. Let me just type everything in. All right, so let's get our handy calculator again. I'm going to clear my screen again. So 8,333, and then in parentheses, 1 plus 0.08. Close our parentheses. And we're going to raise that to the 12th power. Hit enter, and we now have a new account balance of $20,983.91. Oh my goodness, if you guys have ever heard the phrase, it takes money to make money, this is exactly what they're talking about. If you can somehow scrape together $8,000 and put it in an account for 12 years because you're just not going to need that $8,000, if you can find an account that's going to pay you back at 8%, after 12 years, you've more than doubled your money. Man, that is awesome. All right, what I want us to do now is I'm going to do what we did on the other video. I'm going to have you guys press pause in a second here, see if you guys can solve this on your own, and when you're done, press play and see what you got. Hopefully I did it right. All right, so number 3, don't press pause yet. We're going to at least label it together. Number 3, Jasmine invests $2,658 in a retirement account with a fixed annual interest rate of 9%, compounded annually. So we're going to use our compound formula. What will the account balance be after 15 years? So let's go ahead and write our formula first, and then I'll have you guys press pause. So A equals P 1 plus R to the T power. Let's go ahead and label these. Don't press pause yet. So the 2,658 is going to be our principal. Our rate is going to be 9%. This one will divide by 100 together, get 0.09, and our time will be 15 years. All right, go ahead, press pause, and then when you're done, press play again. So press pause now. Welcome back, guys. Let's go ahead and substitute these values back into our formula. All right, our principal of $2,658 is going to be multiplied by the sum of 1 plus 0.09, but after it's raised to the power of 15. So that's what our formula should look like. Let's go ahead and type this in. So 2,658, and then in parentheses, 1 plus 0.09, raise it to the power of 15. Remember, that is not just a multiply. Double check our screen, make sure it looks like our paper. Excellent. Hit enter, and we have a new account balance of $9,681 and up. Did you round correctly? It's not 71 cents. This 8 tells us to round to 72. Hopefully that's what you got. That'll mean that I got it correct. All right, last one. Hey, it says independent practice. You guys have already practiced independently, so you guys can do this again. All right, so we'll do this one, we'll do it the same way. Let's go ahead and set up our equation, and then you guys will press pause. I'll read it first, All right, Maria invests $6,154 in a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 8%, compounded annually. What will the account balance be after 10 years? All right, I'm not even going to write the formula for you. You guys do it. It's right there. So you guys write your formula, start substituting stuff in. When you're done, press play. So go ahead and press pause now. And welcome back. So hopefully you copied the formula down correctly. So A equals P, and then in parentheses 1 plus R to the T power. All right. We've got compounded. Whoops. All right, let's go ahead and label our numbers here. So 6,154, that's our original investment. So that's our principal. Our rate is 8%. Did you guys remember to divide by 100? If not, your answer will be astronomically huge. All right, and then what will the account balance be after 10 years? So the 10 is going to be our time. Start substituting these numbers back in. So the P becomes 6,154. That's our principal. In parentheses, we're going to multiply by 1 plus 0.08. We're going to have to raise that to a power of 10. Go ahead and type that into our calculator. So our original $6,154. Let's see how much it becomes after 10 years at a rate of 8%. All right, so 1 plus 0.08, and then our exponent of 10 years. Hit enter. All right, and we have got a new account balance of $13,286.02. Hopefully that's what you guys got also. All right, our next video is going to talk about how to go back and find the interest, but I'd be willing to bet that you already know how to do that. Hopefully this was helpful. Talk to you guys later. Bye.